Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt
And
Roast.
I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
We are here with our Day 15 edition of Big Brother 28 live feed spoilers. Now, for all of you fans of Barrett out there, we have some good news. And here's exactly what I think happened. I think Barrett watched or listened to our update yesterday because we were not too kind on Barrett. We put him in a little bit of a timeout. He was spending too much time. Yes, he has his alliance, but just hanging out with D, cuddling with D, talking to Angela. Like, for such a huge super fan, he was not doing anywhere near as much in the game as we had wanted him to.
No, gaming wise, Barrett wasn't really doing anything, but to be fair, he didn't really have to do
Mhm.
anything. He's part of a big alliance that has won back to back HOHs, so he doesn't necessarily have to be working that hard. But really, he's just in there being a super fan, living his super fan dream, flirting with D, having a flirt match, being in a big alliance, all of the things. But now that D is like starting to push him away, is suggesting he kind of go and be with some other people. She's describing her perfect man. It's not him. He's kind of waking up to being like, oh no, the dream. She's over.
And I think because I had been conditioned to watch Barrett for like the last 10 or so days on the live feeds, like at first I was kind of skeptical. It's like, oh, is he playing the game? Is he playing? But now that we've had a day's worth of evidence, I actually do think Barrett is playing the game. And I think
Yeah.
his eyes are a little bit open to, okay, my gameplay can't just be go to the end with D or go to the end with these returning players because I'm probably not their number one priority. And yeah, if I'm there in the final two with them, they will probably beat me because I will be questioned about what exactly I did in the game.
They will 1,000% beat Barrett. I said this in the update yesterday.
Mhm.
I would take Barrett to the end because he's not doing anything right now. And if he just kind of continues floating along, having this big alliance all protect him, and he's not really playing any game, I would absolutely take him to the end and sit against him.
Thankfully, what a difference one day can make, because like
Absolutely.
now I'm excited. Like now I'm really eager to see, because we have a potential final two alliance for Barrett that has a lot of potential. We're going to describe how this came together. It's kind of complicated, as is all things in the Big Brother world. We'll also take you through the current state
Yeah.
of the vote with the next eviction coming in a couple of days. But before we go forward here, we want to thank the sponsors of this video in Oxnit Clothing. This is a clothing brand that Jess first put me onto because she has loved their clothing and their designs for such a long time.
I love them. I own like 20 of their shirts.
Yeah, like they are just super, super comfortable, retro inspired knit clothing. Jess
Yeah.
and I are both wearing Oxnet right now. We have worn Oxnet in a number of the videos so far this season. Now, if you go to the link in our description, you can head on over to Oxnet and get 15% off any store purchase there with the code Matt and Jess TV. Thank you so much to Oxnet. We really appreciate your support here at the channel.
Thank you so much. I love them.
All right, well, let's just get now into the vote and where things stand. Because, like, on the surface, we recognize this is Jason versus Melody versus Rome. It feels predictable to say that if Rome ends up losing the blockbuster, he is going to leave the game no matter who he is up against.
Absolutely. So we were thinking it was probably going to be a bit of a quieter week, but that is not the case.
No, it's not, because there is paranoia that's running rampant. You have a lot of people talking through other scenarios, and I think there's one very uncertain element that was hard to predict, and that is just how delusional certain people in the house could be about their chances of staying in the game virtually no matter what.
Yep.
We'll start with the Melody perspective because, of course, she's a little bit paranoid. I think she really thought she made a great case to Devins as to why he should take her off the block. I think she's still been like, what did Lyric say to get Devins to make this move? I mean, little does she know it's a lot more complicated than that, but I think she's right to sit back and feel like none of this really makes that much sense, right?
No, if I'm Melody, I do not understand why in the world you would keep a showman's off the block, that you would take Lyric off the block. If Rome wins the blockbuster, now the showman's is still in the house. Why would you do that? It still baffles me. I know it's a lot more complicated than that, but at the same time, it still baffles me.
Yeah, and it should be, because it is baffling. Everything that has happened with Lyric going off the block is baffling unless you get into real deep tinfoil hat territory. And we'll try to talk through that a little bit later. But, Melody's gotten reassurances from Mallory, even from Dee. I mean, just a number in the people of the house being like, obviously, we understand why you're worried. You don't have anything to worry about. I mean, for Melody, the best thing she can do, just sit back, don't do anything crazy, just kind of stay under the radar and see if Jason and Rome just talk themselves to death or do something to make their odds of staying somehow less than they already are.
Absolutely. Keep your eyes on Jason, keep your eyes on Rome, and see how they're moving. Because if they are really out there making things worse, then you can lay a little bit low. If they're really out there campaigning, then you really need to be doing so as well.
So Jason has had some conversations, but I think it doesn't really help if one of the conversations you're having is with someone else who doesn't really know what's going on. So
Right.
we had a little bit of a visit to delusional corner here where Jason and Lala, who has just been out of touch with a lot of things that are going on in the house, like she can be fun to watch, but when it comes to just like the gameplay, she is very skewed right now. Like she's trying to count, like Jason's trying to count votes with Lala being like, okay, I have this person, I have this person, I have this person. And like, half of his reads are wrong, and because Lala doesn't really know what's going on either, she can't really correct him.
No.
Here's the reality of the situation right now, is just that Melody is going to have Mallory. She's going to have Lyric, provided that, Rome is off the block.
Right.
Like, a lot of the tool shed is probably going to support Melody in this effort. It's going to take something pretty dramatic, and this is just where things get even more bizarre, is that Lala, like her and Taylor have talked a lot over the last 24 hours because
Yeah.
they're each other's closest ally at this point. And they've kind of tried to debate whether or not Rome has the votes to stay, which she clearly does not. Like, I can't imagine that.
No, he does not have the votes to stay, but I understand where Lala is. She just doesn't have enough information at this point. A huge alliance has been formed that she
Yeah.
is not part of.
Yeah, and I think she's trying to think from the vantage point, and Taylor is as well, that, Rome is a particularly big target. It's a shield that they can hide behind if they don't want to, like, show their cards too early. Like, I get a little bit of the logic in that. I
Yeah.
think just the problem that runs into a lot of this is no matter what's going on with its Melody and some other person, they're going to need people from the tool shed to flip over to that side to take part in a vote to get Melody out. And I think the big issue there is just that Devins has made it pretty clear. He wants either Rome gone this week or he wants Jason gone this week. And if you are, for example, someone like Dee, who kind of did throw out there the possibility of getting rid of Melody, we talked that yesterday, are you really going to want to betray your big alliance like the second week of the game?
That's the thing, that even because, Taylor and Lala are not part of all the information that's really going around, if you just look and you see that Devins is the HOH, Devins has won the veto, Devins is the person who put these three up, Devins is deciding to take one of them down and put up Rome.
Yeah.
Just that information alone tells me Devins wants out Rome.
Yeah,
I don't need to talk to anybody. I can see what's happening.
Yeah, and it's just sometimes you can see what's happening without even getting definite answers on everything. Like a good example of this is Lyric, who is far from a perfect Big Brother player. Like I think we've made that very clear. At times she would rather this be Love Island, but Lyric is perceptive enough that she can go out, have a bunch of conversations, read people's body language, kind of understand what they say. Because Lyric tried to go and rally some votes for Rome over the
Yep.
course of today. Like, yeah, she talked a little bit with Lala Taylor. She's talked with Dee. She's talked with others. But through all of that, she was eventually like, yeah, Rome, you are 100% the target. She reports back to Rome, who in his own delusional mind has kind of wondered, am I really the target? Like, what's actually going on here?
And that's part of the problem. Rome, you have to know, like I just laid out, Devins has all the power.
Yes.
He put up these nominations. If he is using the veto, then he wants you out.
Rome is just so unserious. Like this is
I know.
I still can't take him seriously. He looks and acts like a character from a Will Ferrell movie in like the early 2000s where
Yes.
there might be something going on up there, but it's a little bit incomplete, or he's being distracted by other people. Because now his thinking is, okay, I'll just go and campaign to the guys. Like, that's going to be it. Like, the guy, Rome, you just need to be sleeping and working out and preparing for whatever the blockbuster is going to be.
Yeah, at this point, that really, really is your only chance, unless you're really just going to follow Devins around and really find a way to change his mind.
Yeah, so Rome is already trying to manifest here. Okay, you know what? I'm going to win the blockbuster. I'm going to win the HOH. It's all going to be fine. I mean, sure, Rome. I mean, from the vantage point of drama, I can understand why some people would want Rome still in the game. I kind of wonder if the story arc with Rome is kind of already over because I don't know what he's going to bring to the table beyond this week.
It would be very interesting to see him win the next HOH and see what happens then, because Devon's burned all his bridges for him. Like, he's in a really tough spot outside of Lyric.
Yeah, I do think it would be fun to see all these reality TV stars have to sweat a little bit if it's Rome, if like that, that's a big case to be made here.
Plus all the people that he burned, right? I
Yeah.
mean, everyone would have to come back to Rome in some way, shape, or form.
All right, let's get into this Barrett and Drew final two thing. Like,
Delicious! Welcome to the King,
it is so
Barrett.
funny. Like, we did all this talking about Drew yesterday and about how Drew needs to actually find a real number two because he's
Yes.
got people in his big alliance that don't trust him. You know, he's gotten clear reminders that Devon's even is more with the returnees than with him.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that Barrett was going to be the person that he ended up linking with.
Listen, I was really worried about it because, like I said, Barrett's just been living his super fan dream where he's like, I'm on Big Brother. I'm in a flirtmance here with Dee. She's one survivor. Everything is great. I am in a huge alliance. Why would I ever need to talk to Drew about doing anything against this alliance? I am sitting so pretty. And then in comes Dee and it's just like, hey, Barrett, let's just like lay off the flirting a little bit. Okay, this is kind of over now. You know who I'm really attracted to? Guys that don't look like you. They look like Kamu. Also, you know who's into you? That girl over there, Mallory. You should definitely start linking up with Mallory. When you are in a flirtmance, a showmance, a relationship with somebody and they are breaking up with you and they are like, you know what? You should date my friend over there. They're way more interested in you. That is just like a sledgehammer to your heart. And Barrett is taking it as good as he's going to be taking it. He's not like melting down or anything like that, but it has definitely switched on the light bulb to be like, okay, so Dee's made these choices about me. I'm not as close to her as I thought that I was. The dream is over. Who else is here?
The word you said that I think is so important here is the dream. And I think this is the ultimate point that we have to hit home here because like even if Barrett knew in the back of his mind over the past week or so that all right, it's a bad idea to go to the end with D, all blah 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 blah, he is a super fan, and because he's a super
Yes.
fan and he specifically said that D was his survivor crush,
I begrudge him nothing, living
Yeah.
the dream.
it's really hard, I think, to separate the reality of the game from the dream that you're being a part of because I think when you're also a super fan, you kind of tend to fantasize about your legacy even while you're in the midst of playing the game. So I'm
Yeah.
sure in the midst of all this flirting and cuddling that was going on, he probably was in his head thinking, oh, we could be this legendary Big Brother showmance. We could be bigger
Yep.
than Jeff and Jordan, than Brendan and Rachel. We could go on the Amazing Race like that. We can do all these. So I'm sure he went down this rabbit hole. And that really does start to trick your mind where you don't think logically anymore.
Absolutely. I think he was fully down this dream with the possibility of him and Dee actually turning into more than just a flirtmance or showmance or anything. He was looking big picture. And if you've seen Dee before, you know that that isn't what's happening here. She is somebody who will flirt, very social, very flirty butterfly with a lot of different people. And he should know this
Yeah.
because he's a fan of hers and has seen that she does play like that. But he maybe be like, you know what? I'm different. Everything is coming up Barrett for me. And this is where Hard Hat
Okay.
Dee made a huge mistake with this, I feel. And I know that in the past she has done this and it's worked. but she is now doing this with a super fan, somebody that has had a crush on her from afar. She's basically doing the whole like, I'm dating a fan, which can always just go so sideways, especially when you're playing for so much money, right?
Hmm.
And that you've brought this guy along, he's getting everything he wants, and then you drop the hammer on him. But you do it in a way where you're like, I'm explaining my dream guy. It's not you. Also, go over here with this girl so that you're not with me anymore. It's all coming across in such a way that I think this was the biggest mistake that Dee has made so far. She could have distanced herself from Barrett without doing these other things to push him into Drew's arms, because that is what is happening.
Yeah, it can be very difficult because it's like, yeah, if you're D, I'm sure you don't want to like hurt his feelings or do X, Y, or Z, but you have to balance this, unfortunately, with the game that you're playing. And you have to sort of toe that line so that if you are letting him down, you let him down in a way that's a little bit easier, not altogether obvious, because there are always people willing to pick up allies all over the place. And if Drew
Right.
had his way, I think he would pick up every possible ally in this house because Drew does want to work with everybody. And
Yes.
Drew,
Drew wants to win.
yeah, he wants to win. And I think Drew and Barrett, like this started yesterday, where I think they actually sort of realized we're in a really similar position now that we kind of talk this out because like Drew has his whatever you want to call this with Melody, where maybe there's people in the house shipping it, maybe it's just, maybe they're
People online sure are.
yeah, like, I like the two of them. Like, I'm not afraid to admit it. At the same time, I wish Drew was more honest with Melody and like that relationship was more like complete across the board. But Drew sort of realizes I have Melody, Barrett has Mallory. Like, we have these people that we can extend beyond our alliances here. They're both trying to play multiple sides and trying to keep everyone
Mhm.
close to them. Like, they are also, and I think they've realized this, that core alliance, the crossovers with the returnees, it's a 3-2 majority of the returnees. It's like they could easily be squeezed out of that.
Absolutely. And they will be. So,
Yes.
I mean, seeing these two coming together, they've talked a couple times now, which
Yes.
is really good. Because at first I was kind of like, is Barrett just kind of listening to what Drew has to say? Is Drew shooting himself in the foot because Barrett's always just going to go back to D if D
Mhm.
if D shows up later tonight and it's like, hey, that's over. Barrett is going to be right back there again. And that's one of the risks that Drew takes by picking Barrett as that person to be
Mhm.
his final two. But the more talks that they've had, the closer it does actually feel like they're going to be a final two. I mean, they've got a name for it. They're the jugglers. Like, here we are. They are both juggling all sides of the house.
This is a plus alliance name.
I
Like
know,
we
right?
just gotta throw that. Like yeah, it's the metaphorical of them juggling the games alongside. It suits their personalities. It's fun. I really like the idea of this alliance, and I think to me, yeah, I was very suspicious of this when it first came together yesterday, and a lot of it was because of that history with Barrett and Dee. But then Barrett said a couple of things over the past 24 hours, and they convinced me, and maybe they were also meant to convince Drew. But it started with Barrett acknowledging to Drew that D is the biggest threat of their 5-person group. Then it's
Yes.
Devins, then it's Angela, and then it's like, okay, well, why would Barrett say this unless he was actually interested? And then I tried to talk myself into this. Okay, is he intentionally throwing this out here to see if Drew goes and says it to somebody else? But even if you're doing that, like that's a really big risk because Drew can be very convincing and you might get yourself in trouble anyway.
Yeah, Drew's not doing that.
No, he's not doing that. And I think the other bit of information here that's really, really important is that Barrett brought up the idea today of potentially getting HOH at some point and looking at getting out either Camus and Chuck Camus or one of these two people, despite them all being in this big alliance. Like it does make sense for Barrett to be thinking about this because he is sort of on the opposite side of this group. Like he's been closer to Dee, he's been closer to Angela,
Mhm.
Drew's been a little bit closer to Kamu, to Chuck. Like I do kind of hilariously wonder, is he thinking about going after Kamu because he's more of these type physically?
It's possible. I mean, it doesn't seem like that much of a coincidence. Like, you know what? Who needs to go? It's got to be the guy that Dee just explained that is her type. I was just like, oh, okay. I see what's happening here. That maybe you think you can spark this up again. That's why my real worry and
Mhm.
why I have my hard hat on for all of this is that if Dee ever realizes that she's made this mistake, because I do feel like this is the first real game mistake she's made, losing Barrett, because Barrett was going to be there all the way to the end with her. He was not going to give up this dream.
Mhm.
This is something she could have ridden to the end with and beaten Barrett, and the money is hers. I don't know why she decided to go this route. She could have figured out another way to just pull it back a little bit and still keep him in her pocket. But because she went this route, yeah, I really do think it's over for now. But I think if she ever decides that she wants to pull Barrett back in, Drew is in huge trouble.
There are a couple of major concerns here, and like that is a very, very big one. And I think the other one is just that because Drew is playing so many different people and so many different sides, it's really hard to know ever where Drew's true allegiance is. Because like he's talked to Kamu about having this desire to have like the next chill town or something like that. That makes me feel like, okay, do you want a final two with Kamu? Like, please, no, I would much rather have this one with Barrett. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, and he hasn't said that. He's not like, Tyler, who's out here being like, you want a final two? You want a final two?
Yeah.
How about the producer, Allison Grodner? You want a final two? That's not happening here.
Yeah, and for now, Drew has not ratted out any of this information that Barrett
Nope.
has given. So I think that is an element of hope here. I think Drew realizes as well that all right, I do need this. I don't know where I stand long term with Melody. I know where she's working with some other people. Melody is also not in this big alliance, and beyond all that, like everybody knows he's working with her.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that Drew and Barrett are part of the same alliance. So having a final two with someone you're in the same alliance with, that's a little easier to maneuver around, because if you're working together, it doesn't look shady to anybody else in your
No.
alliance because you're all part of it.
Yeah, and because there's this preconceived notion you're both working with different sides of that alliance or even with other people outside of it, like it gives you all this really, really good cover.
Yeah.
Like, if we were to play out the long game here, like I think the ideal situation would be they can ride this larger alliance for a little while to stay with the tool shed, but then a few weeks down the road, pull in people like Mallory, Melody, try to like figure out a different way to pivot, especially because we already have, Dee is continuing to be paranoid about Drew, having these conversations with Devons that like Drew always pops up and does damage control like immediately after something goes awry. Like Angela is already thinking down the road to her nomination speech when she puts Drew on the block at some point.
I know. It's Drew has got to be done with this alliance. It's just a matter of when, truly. Like, whoever's the next HOH could really determine if it's this early or a little bit later. Because if it is a DHOH again, then, what can he do?
So I think what's going to happen both today, tomorrow, and really moving into Thursday night is that we're going to see a lot of conversations on the periphery about next week, beyond next week,
Mhm.
because I think the picture, it does remain so clear that if Rome goes on the block, I mean, stays on the block after Blockbuster, like he's almost certainly going, it's
Right.
everybody has to sort of plan ahead. They have to be like, okay, what am I going to do in the event Rome does go, in the event other people does go? And Lyric, once again, Lyric can be frustrating to watch. There is something there with her game wise because, like, the work that she has done with Chuck over the past couple of days,
Mhm.
flirting with him, all this other stuff, it did lead to a game talk today. And it does feel like she's setting herself up that if Rome does go this week, she can then have Chuck to be sort of the new meat shield for her in the weeks after the fact.
Yeah, she's definitely trying, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, like she's trying. Chuck has heard her out. Like Chuck has gone to Kamu and been like, I think she really trusts us now, Kamu. And it feels like they're both actually thinking they're playing each other. And so, like, they both think they've got this leg up, and neither one of them really do at this point.
It's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch because Chuck, I mean, we haven't talked that much about Chuck, mostly because he hasn't really done that much to play the game independently. But I
No.
think the problem is when you're not making a lot of big moves early, you think that every move you're making is successful. And I think Chuck does believe that he has set himself up really, really well with Lyric, when I think Lyric does appreciate having, a big, strong guy looking after her for the
Yep.
game. But I don't think Lyric's looking to make Chuck her final two in the event that Romas go. Like, Lyric still has Mallory, Melody. She's got other people in her corner beyond Chuck.
Yeah.
Okay, let's now move over to Haley, because we haven't spoken that much about Haley in the past couple of days. Like, her real headline is just that she just is an irritant to a lot of people in the house. They don't like her, they don't like the problems that she causes, and there is this beef that has been bubbling with her and Lala, to where Haley's out here talking not so much about the vote this week, but about moving forward, winning HOH, and targeting Lala over like almost anyone else in that. It's like, Lala is the biggest threat here in your mind?
What a wild waste of your HOH. Like, right now, Lala is not a threat. That doesn't mean that she won't be later on down
Yeah.
the road, depending on how things play out. But if Haley wins this next HOH and she wastes it on this, like, girl, you just need to go.
Haley is I cannot emphasize this enough about how bad of a player Haley is at this point. I mean, even Chuck, who's not doing a lot, I still feel better about him than Haley, because like all of Haley's ideas are off. And yeah, I understand that Lala wants to target Haley to some degree, but so do other people. And
Right.
also, it's early in the Big Brother season. I don't think it's really that great to target someone just because they're targeting you. I think the goal should be you get rid of people who you either think is going to beat you in competitions, or people you think is going to end up winning the season because they have more influence, more allies, a lot of other people working with that are not you.
That's what's so fascinating about this game. And one of the reasons that I love it so much is that it is this social aspect of things. Do you get your feelings hurt? You get inside your feelings where you're like, this person targeted me, now I'm going to target them. And they're not thinking about game, versus the people that are able to actually separate it and then be like, okay, so and so put me on the block, but
Yeah.
they're not really coming after me, or they're not really my target. I think maybe down the line I might be able to beat them, but this person over here I can't beat. Haley, why are you getting rid of Lala? Right now, Lala is somebody maybe you had a shot with. Probably not, but maybe. I think anybody sitting next to Haley just doesn't win. But
Yeah.
maybe.
There's at least a chance, because I mean, Lala has gotten under some people's skin. It's just like, she does tell people what to do around the house a lot, and a lot of people don't want to feel like they have someone telling them when they should do random chores or anything like that. Like, you at least had something, but somehow this is not even the most baffling thing that Haley has done over the past 24 hours. Like, there is something there with her and Kamu. I don't know what to call this. Like, yeah, they kiss, but it was just sort of like an innocent, fun kiss. There was people around. It didn't seem like a super showmancy kiss, but they talk all the time. Kamu has said to her that he would have no problem going to the end of the game with her. So, I mean, this is as good as a final two.
Yep.
So, what does Haley do? She goes and tells Angela that why? Why are you telling someone else that someone wants to take you to final two? And especially Angela. Who doesn't-
These two do not really get along. It
No.
was really shocking.
Yeah, like, I know you're in the same alliance and you're trying to make things work, and like maybe you want to pass around information or whatever, but you're basically giving Kamu a reason to not trust you. If Angela decides to spill this information, that could be the end of this alliance. And if something falls apart with Kamu and Haley, it's like, where else does Haley go? Like, she doesn't really have any other allies.
No, it was very, very weird.
Yeah, I think what we talked about yesterday with Haley is still clear. She's a perfect person to still take far into the game, because like nobody likes her.
No.
Nobody's really going to trust her. And that is something that is going to end up being her undoing in that sense. Like, she would be a great
Mhm.
person to win second prize money, but that's more or less it.
Absolutely. If I was Kamu, I'd be doing that as well. Hey, let's go to the end together. Absolutely.
Okay, I have two things on Rome Corner here, and then we'll talk a little bit about Angela, just because I still cannot get enough about how delusional Rome is in every
All
single
right.
thing.
Let's go down Rome Road and see how it goes.
Okay, on Rome Road, we're turning one way here, where he is all of a sudden acting really jealous about Chuck, even though you acted like you were fine with it a day ago, and you're all of a sudden like, I don't want Chuck protecting you in this game, Haley.
Oh
Haley,
my
Lyric.
goodness. It's ridiculous, but it's not, unforeseen that this was going to come up.
Also, Rome, you're talking about Lyric going on Dancing with the Stars. I love Dancing with the Stars. I have a very unhealthy relationship with Dancing with the Stars, where I get very, very invested and angry when my favorites is like, they're not taking someone from Big Brother to go on Dancing with the. What show do you think this is, Rome?
I I know. Listen, Rome, focus on Big Brother. It's one show at a time. You've only been in this house for 2 weeks.
I can't with this, but this is the content we will miss if Rome ends up getting evicted from this game.
I agree. Listen, I don't want Rome winning this game, and I do not think that he's going to win this
Yeah,
game. I do not want to watch a showman's, but man, is he bad at this game, and I would really love to see him stick around a little bit longer.
I have settled on I want Jason to go because Jason is too self-aware. Jason is too desperate to try to make TV moments.
Way too desperate trying to make TV moments.
Rome has no clue. Rome is just an accidental meme machine, and I kind of think for that reason he's better to keep around for our entertainment. All right. Finally, Angela, she's playing a much better game, but she has talked about trying to get something going of herself.
Yep.
Dee, Taylor, and Lala. Angela's huge blind spot in the game right now remains that she does not understand that Lala does not like her. And I don't know why she hasn't figured this out. I think a lot of it is just her wanting to work with another older person because that is so rare within this game.
Absolutely. I would be doing the same thing as well. And maybe there's going to be a way to turn that around. I mean, Lala was working with Rome. That all fell apart. She doesn't really have a lot of people she could go to. There is a huge alliance going on. Angela is part of it. Lala, like, why not pay attention to this?
Yeah, Lala's got to set some of this aside, and it's fine to not trust Angela, but you can do something with Angela a little bit later on in the game.
You can ride with her for a short while and get rid of her when you need to.
All right, well, that is where we are coming out of this edition of Big Brother 28 live feed spoilers. So, of course, let us know, who do you want to see leave this game? Do you like the idea of Barrett and Drew, the jugglers? Let us know. And as we said earlier, check out the link in the description below. You can go to Oxnet Clothing and get 15% off any order. Thank Oxnet so much. Thank you guys for your support. We will see you here next time.